Welcome to Manage Your Leads, part of the Effective Remote Working for Sales Team series. I'm Jiggy Patel, Head of Customer Experience here at Gold Vision. Leads can come from various sources, some of which are identified on my first slide, whether it's a sales inquiry, an exhibition lead, a website inquiry, incoming calls, or paid for data. You should look to find a lead source area where all of your leads are captured in a single place. So why use a separate area for leads which doesn't link in with your current customer and prospect data? The key reason for that is to save cluttering up that important customer data or live prospects that you're currently working with. Keeping leads separate can provide an additional stage for filtering that data and allowing you to qualify it separately. If you're capturing data, such as leads from web forms, maybe a contact us page, you want to filter out those inquiries where Mickey Mouse, for instance, may have come in as the email address or even the contact. You may want to capture leads in a separate place so that you can control how you release those leads to your teams for prospecting. And you may want to market to them and nurture them separately. But above all, you want to report on the effectiveness by source so that you can track which lead source has been most effective. So here's a view of how you might want to capture, qualify, assign, and then typically promote that lead and identify the best method for doing so. Find a place to capture all of your leads so that they're in a single source. That will allow you to see which source is becoming most effective and where the majority of your leads are coming from, but also the highest quality leads that you're receiving. Qualify your leads. Work out as a business what allows you to qualify in or qualify out and leads so that you can very quickly start to qualify in the important leads and work on them effectively, but also assign them so that individuals who are most appropriate will maximize the potential to actually win that lead. You might decide to assign them based on maybe your vertical market, the industry, the size. Decide on your qualification criteria so that you can effectively assign those leads. And finally, promote that lead so that you can put everything that you have into it and track all the communications that are ongoing with that individual lead. Leads can be captured in a number of different ways. They may be manually captured one by one. You might, for instance, be using a CRM solution. A solution such as Gold Vision can be used on any device, for instance, whether it's a phone, whether it's a tablet. You may create a lead list and start to manually add leads as they're received from the various sources. Alternatively, if you've got an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file that you've received, you may use the Gold Vision data import tool to import those by bulk. Or you may set up an automated process such as a web lead form, which you've got on your website, which automatically creates new leads in a specific list, such as a product like Gold Vision. You then want to ask yourself, well, am I collating the right information? First of all, think about capturing important detail. What's important to the business to be able to qualify this lead? Certainly fields like the company, the individual's details, maybe a job title, an email address, but also what's the nature of the inquiry. Try and capture as much detail as possible to allow you to qualify it effectively. You might want to add your own custom fields when tracking leads as part of that qualification data, maybe a lead score, for instance, so that on the spot you can start to quickly work out, is this something we want to qualify in or qualify out? But you may capture further technical detail that you as a business need to be able to decipher to understand whether that's an important lead or not. From here, you can look at qualifying and then assigning that lead by using your own criteria to judge the relevance, the important, the fit. you can think about how valuable that lead will be and who ultimately will be the best person to follow it up and how it will be prioritized as well. Assess the value of the lead source. You'll be able to do this once you start to receive reporting to see which lead source is the most effective for you. But all of this information will help the team to follow up that particular lead because they'll have the most important information that you need available to them. Duplicating leads. Here's some common scenarios which can be avoided by making sure that your leads are held in a single source. Think about an existing client, for instance, who's made an inquiry, but they're looking to add an additional product or service to you, and they've inquired via your website. If that's treated as a new lead, that could be quite embarrassing for that individual customer. If you've captured externally bought in data, for instance, but you're already holding companies on a database in a spreadsheet and you start to maybe send marketing to them, if you're sending marketing as though they're a new individual or a new prospect that you're working with, again, that could be quite embarrassing. An inquiry might come in from a company that you've already qualified out. Having all of these leads in one place will help you understand that those leads that you no longer want to work with for various qualification reasons, such as you've qualified them out previously, having that information to hand is really important so that you don't then go and follow those up again. If finally you do get to actually meet a client and you're at an exhibition, but your team don't realize that it's a client that's existing that they're already talking to, that could be an embarrassing situation. So Gold Vision actually offers duplicate scoring and tracking to avoid these situations from happening. So with this, let's have a look at lead capture in Gold Vision and how this information can be tracked. Gold Vision is a web browser-based solution, can be used on any device, and I've simply created a dashboard that allows me to see how my leads are currently assigned, maybe who's promoting those leads, who owns those leads, how they've been distributed, and which lead sources they're currently coming from at the moment. Gold Vision allows you to capture leads in lists, and we've talked previously about tracking the source of these leads. So you may create multiple lists where these leads are tracked, and they may be types of lists that you've created, and of course this is configurable. But what this quickly allows me to see is which lead source is the most effective. Where are the majority of my leads coming from, and which are the most successful as well? When I go into an individual lead list, of course, I can now manually create a new lead in this list simply by clicking the plus button and filling in the detail. Alternatively, like I said previously, I can import this detail straight into a lead list, or if Gold Vision has been linked with my website, these leads can automatically start to be captured in a relevant list. I can see from one screen here how these leads are assigned, but clicking into an individual lead very quickly just lets me look at the most important detail against this lead and what's been happening to date. The lead screen's a one-click screen, so I might want to click to email this individual, one click, and this is linked automatically with Outlook, so I can now send an email to this individual and carry on progressing. I might click to call. Using click to dial, Gold Vision could dial out via your phone system and make a call to that individual, allowing you also to log a note. I might want to reassign this lead to a different individual because I might not be the best person to work on it, or I might be about to go on a period of annual leave where I want to now reassign them. They can be reassigned by bulk also. I've added some additional configured fields in here, which you can call whatever you want to and configure them based on your requirements. But a simple lead scoring drop-down lets me quickly identify, based on qualification criteria, whether this is an important lead or not. Further down the screen, I've got maybe just a qualification drop-down field, for instance, which is asking important questions as to whether or not I might progress with this lead. One-click status at the top of the screen, and again, this is configurable, so you may want to put in here your lead cycle and change it based on the way that you work. And then at the very bottom of the screen, I can click to add a note, and again click to add an email, so that all the important information is in a single place. Hopefully this is going to be a lead that works out for us, and now what I'd like to do is actually promote this into the main database so that I can start to track all ongoing communications. Promoting a record in GoldVision will keep all of the data that's been tracked as part of the lead and map it with an actual company and contact record, which might now be a live prospect that I'm actually working on. Leads are really effective to work on in GoldVision. If I look at, for instance, my leads that are currently owned by me, I can see these in an individual list, but if I go into one particular lead, I can now just start to work through them one by one on the left-hand side. But what you'll see is as leads are entered, straight away that information will tell me, is this a duplicate or not? And GoldVision will tell me why it thinks it may also be a duplicate too. Just coming back to my leads, for instance, as well, and at a high level to look at that duplicate tracking too. Here I've got various fields that are available to me, but important fields might include, for instance, a duplicate count. So how many duplicates exist in GoldVision, and a duplicate score, for instance. The duplicate count will tell me why GoldVision thinks it's a duplicate, and the score is based on, for instance, a similar company name, a similar contact name, or a similar postcode, for instance. You can define how that duplicate score is set up. So just coming back to the slides that I've got, it's a single screen to capture this data, and the screen can be different for different lead lists because you may want to capture specific information. There's a practical follow-up screen layout allowing you to very quickly page through, work through, email, call, move on and change the status against each of these leads. Tracking specific fields and maybe the status based on your organization's sales life cycle can make this quite configurable and track to your industry and your business. Lead tracking in GoldVision is done via lead lists. So as I said, you may want to track different lead lists differently. You may want to capture specific information depending on which lead source you're using. From the original inquiry, the data that you capture when promoted can carry through against the company and the organization as you continue to work with them. And it may be that an individual company has tracked through multiple leads who all belong to the same organization. Tracking lead lists in this way can be really effective for looking at the ROI and managing marketing ongoing to leads either by individual sources or all leads as a whole to see which are the most effective. GoldVision offers data compliance, so certainly if you have GDPR privacy policy in place, GoldVision can be used against the lead to either log an erasure request, state that a privacy notice has been provided, track the purpose for holding that lead and the lawful basis under GDPR also. But you can also request subject access requests via leads in GoldVision and provide an individual with the data that you're holding on them as well. So what is a truly integrated CRM solutions? Whether it's a lead or a contact that you're tracking that data about, you want to create a campaign either via using an email or maybe activities that your team can now follow up to ensure effectively nurturing, onboarding. These leads might come from your website, and you may want to set up a campaign that's automated to send marketing to those leads automatically. Once that campaign is sent, track the leads, track the preferences, but also update that contacts data based on the preferences and the interests that they have. But more than anything, use that data ongoing to better qualify and segment the data that you're using. A truly integrated system will enable you to take that lead from wherever it's come from and use it for campaign nurture management, and then update that data so that you can use it ongoing and ultimately sell to that individual as well. GoldVision offers the true social cycle. So from visits to your website, use GoldVision to track whether this lead has either hit something like Lead Forensics, a web tracking tool, whether they've been on Facebook, your Twitter page. Capture that information as leads automatically by maybe applying a score. It may be that where someone has visited specific pages on your website and received a high score, that only then will they be added into your lead management area so that you can start to track these leads. You might want to set up an automated nurture campaign, which simply sends marketing to new leads that have been added because a certain score was reached. Use GoldVision to create those campaigns and run on an automated basis, sending marketing, and also then track whether or not from the mail shot that was sent, whether they hit your Facebook page or went on your Twitter website or further landing pages on your website, so that again you're tracking that whole social life cycle once again. A solution like GoldVision will enable you to track that lead life cycle from the beginning to the end, continue to nurture it through, but then ongoing once this becomes an opportunity and then a customer that's ongoing working with you. Thanks for joining the webinar. I hope it's been useful. If you'd like to see further videos, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel where you'll find more interesting videos. Thanks for your time today.